keep up. Please don't crash. That's 5-0 on your ass. Don't get stuck. My shit blasting up. Window tinted, can't get caught. My bitch bad, sport mode leave you on your ass taking up.
Yeah. What's the deal, everybody, man? This is Ricky Montoya checking back in, aka the fullest of all bears, and you are now tuned into I Think You're My Driver podcast. Man. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back, man. Today I present you guys here with episode 48. Episode 48's title is going to be called I Mr. Rage. Hey, say I Mr. Rage. And really, bro, if I really want to go ahead and be honest, man, today is a very special day for the Foo Bear himself. As you can see, your boy looking clean or whatever the case. But today is a very special day because it is my birthday, man. Today I mark officially 28 years, or how do they say? 28 years around the sun, man. Your spiritual rising, or whatever y'all want to say, or whatever the case, man. So shout out to everybody, man. Shout out to everybody who's been a part of the journey this far. Shout out to everybody who has been in my life at some point in time, because I really thank everybody that I've ever encountered at this point in time, man. So we're just going to go ahead and get right into it, man. So one of the things that I was kind of thinking when it came to me writing out this particular episode here, so my daughter, to be specific, I got two daughters for those of y'all who don't know, man. My oldest daughter, she's about to be 5, come up here in the next couple of months. And the one thing that I've noticed about kids is that kids really have absolutely no care in the world. And I'm going to tell you exactly why that pertains to my daughter in particular. So, my daughter in particular, man, one day I decided that I was going to take her to the store with me, just a regular thing. Now, for those of you guys who, tend to shop at a lot of these stores that include store pickup, most of the time in the times that we have been in the world, it just makes more sense and it's so much more convenient for you to do a store pickup. So that's exactly what we follow through with, man. So I take my daughter with me to go and make the store pickup. And on this particular day, for some reason, I just decided that I didn't want to go through with picking it up in the parking lot. So I decided that I was actually going to go inside of the store to do the store pickup at the customer service desk, man. Shout out to Ollie, of course. On this day in particular, man, there just happens to be a little bit of a line whenever we go up to the customer service desk, but I'm not concerned about it whatsoever because I already have a cart for my daughter. She's already sitting in the basket, and we're just ready to go on with our business. So, as we're pulling up into this line, man, there happens to be 2 men that's in front of us, and they have a dog in front of us. This dog in particular was one of those border collies, and it's one of those very typical standard border collies that you look like. A cow dog, For some reason, I have absolutely no idea why, but my daughter decides to stand up in the basket, make direct eye contact with the dog, and go, "Moo!" And I was like, and I'm like cracking up laughing because then the dog, of course, he gets all riled up, and I could tell he got offended by that. And like he literally kind of like, what? And I'm kind of like looking at it because in the midst of the dog kind of getting all riled up, the owner, he grabs him and was all like, "Hey, we need to calm down. We are in the store. You're not supposed to be riled up like that." And of course, like I say, kids have no care in the world. She does it a second time. So she literally just, "Moo! Moo!" And the dog, he got fed up. And he was like, "Oh no, F this. And he starts moving his little head around. And he's trying to get around the owner. And the owner grabs him by his snout. And he was like, "Hey, you need to behave. I need you to calm down. This is not acceptable. This and that." And so he takes the dog over to the side, away from the waiting customer service line. And I'm trying my best not to laugh because the one thing about kids is that even though they do not care, they also are not supposed to know that you think it's entertaining. And I was trying my best not to laugh. I was not laughing at the fact that she was mooing. I was laughing at the fact that how hard the guy was getting triggered about the dog. Now, like I say, he took the dog over to the side to get out of the line to calm the dog down. And his way of calming him down was he just kept holding his snout together like this. And like as he continued to hold the snout, he tells his other dude that he was standing in line with, he was like, "You know what? We're just gonna go walk around the store because some of us don't know how to behave." And I'm like thinking about it in a moment. I was like, is he saying that my daughter's bad? But at the same time, like, control your fucking dog. Why do you have a big ass dog inside a Target? Like, this is the one thing that I will never ever fully consider. Now, granted, there are a lot of people who have like service animals or things of that sort. But even in the case of a service animal, usually they'll have some kind of service animal vest. It's typically a dark blue or some kind of vest that lets you know service animal, do not pet. This is just some regular ass house dog that they didn't want to leave in their 700 square foot apartment. And now they're getting mad at my daughter because she's declassifying as to what she's learning. You know, obviously she knows it's a dog, but if the dog looks like a cow, and these border collies, for those of you guys who don't know, are typically cow herding dogs, she was just associated with the dog to what he was normally used to. So can we really be mad? Is it my daughter who's not behaving, or is your dog that's supposed to be sitting locked up in his kennel in the corner of that living room next to the window, is he the one that's misbehaving because he's not in his typical place where he is normally comfortable at? It was funny altogether because my daughter was just like, no care in the world whatsoever. She's like, I'm going to continue rage baiting this dog. And whenever they walked off and left, I asked my daughter, I was like, why did you moo at the dog? You know, dogs bark, they don't move. She's like, I don't know. Because kids don't care. Like, kids don't care. And that's like the beauty of like seeing kids grow, is because you get to see them go through these little bit of moments to when they're just expressing themselves. And like, to her, it was harmless. In my opinion, it was hilarious. It was hilarious on some other notes, but all in all, it was one of those things where I'm like, you know what? You're not going to try to make me feel bad because my kid is comfortable enough to express themselves. You know, at the same time, you and your person are expressing yourself and deciding to bring a dog, a big ass dog at that. You know, if people are bringing dogs into the store, it's completely understandable if you bring, you know, a little lap dog, a little chihuahua, or, you know, a little Maltipoo such as I have. Now, in my case, I can't bring this dog around. I can't bring him to dog parks, but that's a story for another day, man. So it's just like one of those things to where it's like the beauty of aging and the beauty of going through your different stages to where you're starting to correlate things. It's so funny being a parent and watching like the kids like kind of connect those certain things. And the fact that she had that kind of knowledge about the dog being a cow herding dog without us never pulling out a dog book to say, hey, this dog does this, this dog does that. Never have once pulled that girl to the side to say anything like that, but she already knew. All in all, bro, when you're watching people go through their stages of age, it's so amazing getting to experience it from a little standpoint. I love watching my daughters blossom. I love watching them grow and just get to experience different things and show us how well they love to express themselves. And it just is so enjoyable to get those little type of moments. So kind of just moving on from that point, man, there's another hot topic that I do want to talk about that has been hitting the airways as far as rage baiting, man. So for those of y'all who know, you know, there is, of course, the situation going on with Pooh Shiesty and Gucci Mane. Now, I'm not going to get into the whole story of it because we know exactly what happened, but to give you a little bit of a summary for those of you guys who are not tuned in, Gu- Gucci Mane holds the label of 1017. One of his artists under the 1017 label just happens to be Pooh Shiesty, who just came home from prison, which I want to say in December. Number one of the best first day out songs. Just my opinion. Even though it was almost a 6 minute song, I have absolutely no business listening to that song whatsoever, but it is on my playlist in constant rotation. But anyways, one of the better songs that has came out. And in where he's at, I'm sure he's at a place in life to where he feels like it'll be so much better for him to be a part of another label. Gucci Mane disagreed. I don't know what the parameters were. I don't know what it caused to get to this point. But what it ended up happening is that Gucci Mane ended up going to meet up with Pooh Shiesty to have a business meeting to discuss the parameters of the contract. Now, everybody knows what happened. And what had happened is that Gucci Mane signed the contract under duress to get Pooh Shiesty out of his contract. Now, The one thing that I don't think that they in particular were fully aware of is that yes, a contract is a contract and a signature is a contract, no matter how that. Okay. One thing that I don't think that they realize is a contract is a contract. The signature on the contract is really what matters at the end of the day, because when you are presenting the contract to whoever it is going towards, whoever it is getting certified by, the signature is a defining factor for sure. So on paper, it sounds like a great idea. But if you really put into perspective as far as how he was able to obtain Gucci Mane's signature, all across the board, it's just dumb. Like, just put it to you like that, bro. It's just dumb. But I digress, because the best thing about this all is that whenever it did happen, there was rumors that were circulating about it. But when these rumors hit and you see some of the surveillance pictures, in a time where we are, I've kind of had to like always remind myself that there's a possibility that this could be AI and not get too tuned into the story. So I kind of just brushed it off or whatever the case. Now, probably at the top of this month, they have officially been arrested and wrapped in with how, or okay, as of the top of this month, because we are in the month of April, Pooh Shiesty, his dad, Big 30, and a couple other associates have all been arrested and linked to this situation of the signing under duress. Not to mention that he did that, but they also took Gucci Mane's watch and they took his rings. Look at me. I said I wasn't going to get into the story, but you guys need to hear the meat and potatoes. Pause. So, with them now being behind bars, there's a lot of talks that have been going on about they're like, oh, okay, so there's only one way that this could have happened, this, and that. And everybody was saying, like, oh, Gucci Mane's a snitch, Gucci Mane's this, Gucci Mane's that. But Gucci Mane did not speak out or give his piece at all. He didn't go on Instagram Live like a lot of these artists tend to do and expose themselves or tell the whole story about what did happen or what may have happened. Instead, my guy Gucci Mane decides that he's going to put out a song, which I happen to get the notification of 6 minutes of it being uploaded. He came out with the song Crash Dummy, which is just exactly what you think it is. The thing that really surprised me all in all is when the song started, it was a Zaytoven beat. So it brought me back to where we were back when the Gucci Mane and Young Jeezy situation was happening with the song The Truth. When that song came out, he came out to expose the truth, to tell his side of the story. So I think what he was trying to do was tell his side of the story. But in all honesty, if the narrative online is that you have not been given a statement and you haven't commented, confirmed, or denied, nobody on your team has done of sort, this is their opportunity that you said that you are complying, giving information up. Now, the thing that like really bothered me is that there was a lot of people online in like the pop culture scene that were chiming in and giving their takes on how they felt about Gucci Mane dropping this song or giving a statement, so to say. The one thing that I thought was very interesting, because I'm not going to talk about everybody that chimed in, I'm only going to mention one person that really stuck out the most, and that is my guy Finesse Two Times, man. I really fuck with Finesse Two Times because him and I got the same name, man. So shout out to Ricky. Shout out to Ricky, right? Coming from another Ricky, man. I want to tell you something, man. From the bottom of my heart, guy. From the bottom of my heart, man. You are hilarious, bro. Everything you do online and all these memes have been popping up, man. I really fucks with you, my guy, because you are funny as ever. But this in particular commentary that you decided to give was probably some of the dumbest shit that I've heard in my life, man. Now, one of the things that he started out his rant about is how disappointed he was in Gucci Mane for giving a statement and coming out on record to tell his side of the story. One of his points that he made in the midst of this rant is he had said, like, come on, man, you're disappointing me, man. Like, come on, Pooh Shiesty, he was a YN like the rest of us, man. We used to be his age, man. Come on, the youngin', he just needs some guidance. He just needs some guidance. And when somebody needs some guidance, they're coming to you in a time of need to try to get some guidance, and you decide to go the other way and make a statement. Now, let's go ahead and pause right there about needing some guidance. I'm not disagreeing that my guy did need some guidance, but like I said, the people who are wrapped up in this case, Pooh Shiesty, Big 30, Pooh Shiesty's dad, and a couple other associates. With Pooh Shiesty's dad being a part of this case is already bad enough. But to come and find out with, all this stuff that has been coming to the light, Pooh Shiesty's dad is the one who came up with this idea. So not only is it somebody who's looking for guidance, but somebody who just happens to have their father in their life who's not giving them the guidance that they need. So I see exactly what he was trying to say as far as like looking for some guidance. But when you have somebody over you who is your biological father, who has been there, done that, and is literally guiding you in the wrong direction to put you right back where you just came from, that's something that I really want to like emphasize that we're really talking about. I do agree that everybody does need guidance because there's a lot of people in their camps who do not have their best interests at heart. A lot of the times when you hear these stories, you expect that from somebody who is a friend, somebody who's an associate. But one thing in life that I don't think a lot of people, one thing in life that not a lot of people actually get to experience is their parents being the ones who are really guiding them down the wrong path. I only say this in particular because in his situation, Pooh Shiesty's dad was also somebody who was heavily involved in similar activity, allegedly, at one point in time. So him being the person to guide him right back down that same road, knowing how his son thinks, is kind of just manipulative to me. So I do agree to a certain extent that he did need guidance, but coming from the perspective of the person who was involved in the situation having their dad in their life, if they want to make that dumbass decision and allow somebody to influence them, such as their father, who most of the time, a lot of us young men who get to enjoy having our fathers in our lives, we want to make sure that we make our dads proud. Now, I'm not saying that there was some other parameters or whatever the case, but kind of how I perceived it as is that if it's your dad that's leading you down this path and is guiding the head of the operation, and not to mention that his dad was his manager, that kind of just lets me know that his dad was a hater from day one. Now, of course, everybody's going to have haters in their lives, and you got to know how to deal with it at the end of the day. But I think it's kind of just ridiculous to try to point out and put the responsibility on somebody who is your executive over your career to try to hold accountable for giving you the right guidance when you have the person that's above you who's supposed to be giving you the right guidance to make the best decisions in life. So I just think that it's kind of ridiculous how people try to hold Gucci Mane accountable for something that a father's supposed to be doing when a person in particular in this conversation has their father in their life. Regardless of what their father is acting, regardless of how he is speaking or trying to direct him to do so, that is somebody who you expect to be giving them the guidance that they're looking for, man. So I just think that's kind of ridiculous, and I just really had to highlight that particular sentence that was said. Now like I said, I do f with my guy. Now like I said, I really do fuck with my guy Finesse 2 Times, man. But when you said that dumbass line, man, that was one of those things where I'm like, I don't really think we should be holding Gucci Mane accountable for father-like tendencies for somebody who is your executive at the end of the day, because it's kind of messed up to even like put it this way, but business is business, man. Regardless of what's going on in our lives, I know that it is very important to make sure that you have the right people around in your circle. And now, myself being 28 years old, I'm fully understanding that concept that it is very important to have the right people in your circle. Because when you have the right people in your circle and you're looking for guidance, so to say, you need somebody who has some form of wisdom. In Pushaisti's situation, I think it was a great trade off to have somebody as his dad still in his life who can kind of give him guidance. But like I say, when you have somebody as close to you as that who is a hater of you and they don't want to see you shine, you can't you can't use everybody's word as bond and use everybody's word as the key to success. Because even if they are giving you certain keys or certain gems, let's be honest, man. You could have all the keys in the world, but if you're really in need and you're getting chased down by the ghost face scream killer, if you have a boatload of keys and not one of those keys are opening the door that you are trying to go into to escape, you're fucked. Just put it to you like that, man. You are fucked. But I digress, man. I digress, man. So moving on from that, of course. Now, digressing from that situation here, man. So I had another topic that I was gonna get into, but the one thing that I love about the life that I live right now, man, like I say, man, I've been on Earth 28 years, man, and the best thing that I have gotten is having kids, getting married, getting a house of my own, man. And in particular, in context of this episode, my wife decided to write out a couple of questions that she wanted me to read out for the episode so that way I can, answer them right here in person for you guys, man. So, oh snap. She actually wrote out quite a bit of questions. That's crazy. So, look, so for this first question that she got here for me, this says, tell the story of your favorite birthday party. Fool. Let me tell you something. So, this is probably between one of two parties, but I'm going to tell the first one first. So, in 2020, which I believe in 2020, I think I was turning 2022, if I'm not mistaken. So, in 2020, when I turned 2022, this is in the midst of the pandemic. So, I'm laid off of work, but I'm still trying to like celebrate and be like, oh yeah, it's my birthday, whatever the case. And my wife was like, oh, let's have a get together at the house. We can't really go out or go places. So let's just invite people over. You can invite a couple of your friends. I'll make food for everybody. I'll make a cake and do everything. So I was like, hell yeah, like let's do it. Bro, when I tell you, my guy, when I tell you, my wife made like some of like the best food that ever, bro. And my wife cooks her ass off. I'm gonna go ahead and make a shout out to you. You be cooking your ass off, but you know that. You know that. That's why I love you. But anyways, fool, when I tell you, fool, she made like this fire ass meal. I think like she made like breakfast. I think if I'm not mistaken. It was like tofu, fried potatoes, and green beans, I think. It was something of that sort. And then she made my favorite cake, bro. Homemade chocolate cake. Boy, that shit was so fire, bro. I remember everybody was like, oh my God, this food is so bomb. It's so this. And like, mind you, we had like kind of a smaller apartment. This was before we got our house. And freaking, we had like a couple of my friends over. So everybody brought a little gift, brought a little card. Somebody brought me like a couple pre-rolls. Somebody got me some edibles and all type of stuff like that. So we're over there like getting zooted. And we're like, all right, so do y'all want to test this out or what y'all want to do? And so I'm like, yeah, bro. So we had a balcony at the time. So shout out to apartment balconies, fool. I had like six people sitting out on the balcony and we're all just passing back and forth little pre-rolls. Everybody had a little blunt rolled up. This person had this person had that. We're just out here just having a good ass time. And it was funny whenever I told my mom about how we had to get together. My mom, she works in the medical field or whatever the case. So she was like, oh my gosh, you guys did that in the midst of a pandemic. Like, you guys were breaking all the rules. I was like, bro, like, it's my birthday. I don't care. I truly didn't at that time because I was like, you know what, bro? I'm getting to celebrate having a birthday despite of what was going on because like I said, I was laid off at the time. I was literally freshly 2 weeks of being laid off. Freshly 2 weeks off of the world being shut down. So there's a lot of things that were kind of just battling against where I was emotionally at the time. But it was a pretty cool experience all in all. Now the second story that popped up as soon as I read that question is my birthday that I had when I was in the 6th grade, which, let's see, how old are you turning? I think you're turning 12 in the 6th grade. Yeah, 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 turning 12. Bro, so this was like the first time that I get to have like a party at the house. So, got your stupid ass. At least I thought I did. Anyways, so freaking, I want to say probably about 5 or 6 of my friends at that time. And I remember everybody came over. My mama got like this ice cream cake for us. And at this time, we used to live in a cul-de-sac that was on a hill. So it was just like perfect. You know, we're all kids. We got bikes and stuff like that. And we had like a little forget what they call these cars. I want to call them like a big wheel, whatever the case. And so we're all just, racing down the hill. Somebody got the bike. Somebody has a scooter. Somebody brought their skateboard. I had a basketball hoop. I had a trampoline. All the kid stuff. Like, I'm not gonna lie, man. I had a pretty solid childhood, man. Pretty solid childhood. So it was like one of those things to where, like, that was like a dope ass time. And what was also funny about that birthday in particular is my mom, when we were growing up, she didn't want us watching The Simpsons. She thought The Simpsons was stupid, but she bought the Simpsons movie for us and let us all watch it for my birthday. So it was it was kind of weird, but it was funny at the same time. I had a PlayStation, so I got like WWE. One of my friends that got me like Midnight Club, the dub edition. So, bro, for those of you guys who got to experience the Midnight Club dub edition, bro, y'all need to bring that back to regular streaming platforms. So whoever got the connect over here, who watches and listens, whoever got the connect at Rockstar, bro, put me on, fool. I'm ready. I miss playing dub edition, man. I know there's some kind of way where you can bring it back to these newer platforms, man. Come on, bro. Somebody's got to have some kind of connection, man. So, question number 2. What was the worst birthday party yet? The worst. Man, I'm trying to think. I don't really think I've had like a worst birthday party. Like, in all honesty, I want to say I probably had like, you know, a decent amount of parties. I don't really think I've really had like the worst birthday party. So yeah, I don't really think I have something like that. But that's a great question though. So shout out to my wife. So the third question she said is she's fucking crazy fool. So the third question she says, what is your dream birthday celebration? Man, my dream birthday celebration, bro. I'll say, man, honestly, in all honesty, bro. Okay, okay, okay. So my dream birthday celebration would definitely be like getting to travel, but getting to travel to like, where would I want to travel to? That's the real big question. Like, you know what? I know what it is. I know exactly what I would do. My dream birthday celebration would be going on a cruise, but not just like going on like the typical Cozumel cruise that every fucking buddy does. I want to go on like a Pacific Northwest cruise, like one of those like ones where you like go from Washington, you circle back around through like Alaska and something like something like completely different. Because I also want to be able to see what are they? I forget what they call them, but they're like the North Pole lights, so I want to be able to see that. So yeah, I'll say that that's definitely my dream celebration. I'm gonna I'm gonna skip over question number 4. So you're crazy. You're crazy, but I love you. Oh my god, you are crazy. Now, the fifth question that she put is most embarrassing birthday party you ever attended that wasn't your birthday. Damn. Embarrassing? I'm gonna come back to that one. I don't really think I've ever. I don't think I've ever. What do you call it? I don't think I've ever been a part of like an embarrassing birthday party. I don't think so. I don't think so whatsoever, actually. Well, actually, I take that back. I take that back. My bad. My bad. I take that back. Uh, shout out to my mom's friends. So my mom has some friends, coolest people on the planet, bro. Shout out to Patsy and Dino, man. Shout out to Patsy and Dino. So my mom has a friend whose name is Patsy, and she's married to a guy named Dino. That's not his real name, but that's beside the point. Dino was celebrating, I think he was turning 50. I think he was turning like 50, turning like 47. It was somewhere between like 44 and 50. A pretty big, pinnacle. So Patsy lives out in Forney, Texas. So they live out on a pretty big, sizable land. They have a pretty big house, very long driveway. So Patsy's house was always the get together house. At one time, when they were celebrating Dino's birthday, they had a gigantic get together. Now, to give you a little bit of background on Patsy and Dino, they are partiers. If my sister or my mom are listening, you know exactly what I'm talking about. These people are partiers. Like every time we went over there, "You want a shot? You want a shot? You want a shot?" And I think if I'm not mistaken, Patsy even offered me a shot that day. And I remember my mom was like, "He's 15. Why would you try to give him a shot?" And she was like, "Hey, I'm just trying to make sure everybody's having a good time. Damn, Delma." And she was, like I say, they're partiers, fool. So her husband, he's no fucking better, bro. So he's just like, everybody's like, "Hey, let's take a shot. Hey, let's have a drink. Hey, let's take a shot. Let's do this." So he's going crazy. So party's going on for, I want to say, somewhere between like 3 or 4 hours. At this time, everything's kind of winding down a little bit. And Dino, him in particular, he went wild with drinking on this night in particular. And they had a very huge, sizable garage. So whenever he was trying to, escape or just kind of hang out with like a couple of his buddies, and I think like Patsy's brother or a couple other people, they all went into the garage. Dino's sitting on the garage, and Dino's sitting in the garage, and he's the only person who's silent. And the one thing that you'll learn about when people are drinking and partying is someone's silent, get a bucket or get a trash bag. And sure enough, bro started blowing chunks, man. My guy started throwing up like crazy in this garage, bro. And I remember like Patsy was like, "Oh shit, Dino, damn." And she's just kind of like, "Oh, you threw up, whatever, but you know what? You had a good time." And so, he gets cleaned up, goes and take a shower, and we don't really see him for the rest of the night. I think he ended up going to sleep after taking a shower. We ended up seeing them, I want to say maybe like a couple weeks after the fact, or it wasn't a very long time after the party. We go back to go and hang out with her. And so she told us, she was like, "Yeah." She was like, "We had a really good time." And my mom, she's like, "Yeah, you were offering everybody a shot." She was like, "You offered Ricky a shot." And she was like, "Oh my goodness." She was like, "I did?" She's like, "Did you take it?" And I was like, "I couldn't." My mom shut it down immediately. And she's like, "Ah, come on." She's like, "You should have took the shot anyways. Your mom wasn't going to be looking the entire time." But she basically had said that, like, at the end of the night when everybody left, she kind of like pulled him to the side and she's like, "Hey, Dino, like, I know it was your birthday and I know you were just having fun, but like, Papa, you're getting old. You can't be drinking like that." So it's like one of those things where it's like, it's always embarrassing when somebody throws up after drinking because nobody wants to be around the people who are throwing up and drinking. But it was just funny as shit to like think about like how crazy of partiers they are and how he was just out there just like, "Yeah, give me the shot, give me the beer, give me the shot, give me the beer." No food. Like, come on, fool. Be for real. So the sixth question that she gave me is, name a lame gift you gave for someone's birthday. A lame gift. Man, I'm not really like a big gift giver, fool. Do I have a lame? I don't think I have a story like that because I'm not really a big gift giver. Like, I'll send you a thoughtful ass message. So I guess you could say that's kind of lame. Like, "Hey, bro, I hope you have a good day. Happy birthday. bro, you're this, bro, you're that, words of affirmation. So if you want to call that lame, I guess, but I don't really think I've ever gifted anybody something lame because at the same time, I'm really not a big gift giver. But if I fucks with you, I fucks with you. So shout out to y'all. So moving on. The seventh question, she said, if you had a shopping spree for yourself of $10,000, what would you buy? What would I buy? Let's see. So I'll say if I'm just thinking about like a lot of the stuff that I've been thinking about, um, I would definitely upgrade, get me a nice camera, you know, like a real decent camera for sure. I have like a camera that I'm already looking at that I'm probably gonna purchase here in the near future. So probably purchasing like a nice camera. I'd say I'd probably definitely I definitely get like a nice couch. But like not just like no like regular $400 Amazon couch. Like I want like a nice couch, fool. Like there's a couch that I actually discovered. This is how I realize I'm really an adult. I'm over here talking about buying couches. What the fuck? But no, like on some real shit though. I found like a nice ass couch. I think it was like a $2,700 couch or something like that. As a matter of fact, let me pull it up because I remember I was looking at it and it was nice, fool. It was real nice, bruh. What was it? A can a Corinne. It was either Corinne or Karen modular sectional. It was like suede velvet leather. Solid couch for sure. So that's what it was like 2,700. The camera with the lens and all this stuff was gonna be like 1,600. So, you know, damn. So we're already down. Let's see if I'm down. Let's just round it up to 3,000 for the couch. Subtract 1,500 for that. So we're down to give or take what 5,500. Fuck, you putting me on the spot. So I definitely do that. And then I'll say like I'll probably like buy like a good amount of shoes. Like I buy like 9, 10 pairs of shoes. Like I used to be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna buy Jordans, I'm gonna buy that. But like sometimes some of these Jordans be like $300. Like the fuck? $300, bro? That's like my light bill for like 3 months. Like what are we talking about? But I probably buy like at least like 9 or 10 pairs of shoes and freaking bro, I get my AC fixed. That's for fucking sure, bro. Riding around with no AC in the car and it's like really starting to heat up outside, fool. 10 out of 10 don't recommend. So that right there, that's probably what like 750, maybe like $1,200. So with the nine pair of shoes, give or take about $2,500. So what? Let's just say I'm down to like 2,700. So for that last 2,700, I'd probably, in all actuality, fool, I'd probably buy like a couple firearms. Buy me a little ARP. It's funny. I was actually just telling my homie about this. Sidetrack. I went to the range a couple weeks ago, and the dude next to me actually had an ARP, and I was like looking at it like, oh damn! Like I felt like a kid in the candy store when I saw it. I was like, oh bro, I can't wait to get me one of those. Fool, that guy was next to me. He started letting that mug ring. And I was like, oh. I was like, okay, maybe I'm not ready. But nah, for sure, I would definitely buy like a ARP. Probably buy a good amount of ammo. So that right there would already clean out the balance right there. So yeah, that's a pretty nice little shopping spree right there. Yeah, for sure. So yeah, that right there. So number 8, which I think is kind of like aligning with like my dream birthday celebration. Number 8, she said, "Would you rather take a cruise trip or a road trip, and where?" She's hilarious. Let's see. So, in all honesty, bro, I'd probably take a cruise trip. Like, I've taken a lot of road trips, but actually, I'll say this. No, I take that back. I take that back because I already said that I was gonna take a cruise for like my dream birthday celebration. I'll definitely go for a road trip, but like I want to go like somewhere that's not like crazy far, but at least like a good distance. But honestly, bro, I want to go visit Chicago. Like, my wife, she's not gonna like that I exposed this. She doesn't like whenever I say like, "Oh, let's go to Chicago," because she knows like King Von and like Lil Durk and shit like that. But like, Chicago's got like a lot of cool museums and they got like a lot of cool like history. And on top of that, I heard Chicago's got fire pizza. And I saw this thing on TikTok once where out in Chicago they made a Family Guy museum where they made the drunken clam, like the real bar in Family Guy. Fuck yeah, yeah, nah, Chicago. Road trip to Chicago, hands down. That's my final answer. And then number 9, what is your favorite happy birthday song? Definitely the Gracie's Corner. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Definitely that. She's hilarious because she's over here talking about the do it like it's your day, baby. And lastly, who would I want to see in concert for my birthday? Now, I'll say there was one person who I did definitely want to see in concert because one of the birthdays that I had, one of the most fire birthdays that I had. If I'm thinking like who would I want to see in concert for my birthday, there's probably there's probably 3 people that I could say that I want to see in concert for my birthday. So right off the bat, I want to see Kendrick Lamar. He was actually in Dallas for my birthday this past year, but you know, sometimes you gotta miss out on things. Perfectly fine, man. Another person that I would love to see for my birthday would have been Future. Which is funny because whenever for my birthday in 2023, when I turned, what was that, 26? When I turned 26, we went out to Coachella. No, fuck, I'm 28. That was when I turned 25. My math is horrible. Oh, snap. That's crazy. Yeah, so I'll say definitely want to go see Future. But oh yeah, that's what I was saying. Uh Whenever we went to Coachella out for 2023, Metro Boomin was one of the headliners, and this is around the time when the Heroes and Villains album came out. And whenever he was performing, we happened to be like on the side of the stage, and she wanted to start making her way to the other side of the park because Bad Bunny was going to perform. Now, for those of you guys who know, I don't care about Bad Bunny. Whenever we were walking around the park to go towards Bad Bunny, we weren't prepared for how much walking that we were gonna do. So she wanted to sit down. And at the time, whenever she started sitting down, I heard the instrumental loading up to superhero. Drinking dope turned me to a superhero, yeah, yeah. And I hear the build up and I was like, wait a minute, is that the song that I'm thinking of? And I'm like, it's Metro Boomin performing, or it's Metro Boomin, so obviously he's gonna be playing songs from that. And then I hear the auto tune and the screaming. And I was like, no fucking way, bro. Future's performing right now. And so I'm like, we need to get up and we need to keep going. And like I say, since we both weren't very prepared for how much walking that we were gonna do, she was having like leg pain and like her feet were hurting or whatever the case. And I tried to like offer to like pick her up and like carry her, but she was like, no, no, that's only gonna make it hurt even worse. So one of the people I definitely wanted to see for my birthday was Future. Future. So Future, Kendrick Lamar. And if I could say like the third one, who would I want to see in concert? Now, concert wise, well, I guess you could kind of say this. It's, a performance or whatever, but I want to go see my guy Deontay Kyle, man. My guy Deontay Kyle from the host of the Grits and Eggs podcast. Now, for those of y'all who know me, I really fucks with my guy Deontay. He is supposedly be gonna be having like a podcast show out in Dallas, so I might have to slide through, man. I might just have to slide through. You know what? Actually, if we're gonna say concert, scratch Deontay. That's definitely still on the list. But scratch Deontay. If I wanted to see somebody else for concert for my birthday, I would definitely say I'll say Isaiah Rashad. Because he's actually about to come out with an album here at the top of May, May the 1st. So that means come probably like the tail end of May, maybe June. He's probably going to be going on tour. Dang, there's a whole lot going on, bruh. What's funny is that for my birthday, we actually just went out to Kansas. Shout out to Alexa Gates, man. We went out to Kansas to go see Alexa Gates perform, which we actually got to see for my wife and I's anniversary. So it was kind of cool. It was a cool experience. It was upsetting that she didn't go to Dallas, but you know, I give you grace there, Alexa. I give you grace. But she put on a great ass show out in Lenexa, Kansas. I think was the name of the town. But besides the point, it was a great performance overall. I had a great time, and overall, and I got to have a great time just like getting to enjoy my wife, man. That's the one thing that is like such an amazing thing that I really hope everybody gets to experience is getting to have their person. And that's one thing that I think is very important as far as like trying to close out the episode is that when you are celebrating a birthday, as they say, as you get older as adults, it seems like birthdays just kind of start to turn into like a regular day, so to say. And I think it's very important to still celebrate your birthday, still give yourself the time, whether you're taking off from work, taking a trip, going to see a concert, or, having some kind of experience. The one thing that makes your birthday so much more enjoyable is when you get to enjoy it with your person, man. So shout out to my wife, man, because we've been together, like it'll literally be 10 years of us being together here coming up in June. So getting to have this person in my life for 10 years, being that I'm turning 28, it's like such a great milestone in life. And I think it's very important for you to always take into consideration the milestones that you are going through in life because life is going to throw you for a lot of twists and turns, bro. And the way that you navigate through these twists and turns is going to be the way that you know that you can be successful in life. There's a lot of ways that you can be successful in life, but the greatest way that you can make sure and ensure you maintain that success is by how you navigate yourself out of the twist and turn. That as you are navigating to try to find your way out of that twister, you got to know that once that twister pass, that you can stand up and get right back on course. Because if it's one thing, man, if it's one thing about life, man, if you don't get up and get back on course, man, nobody else is going to pick you back up. Even if you have a person. You can have your person and they can help you get up back on course, but if you don't want to get back up on that course, man, we're all wasting our time, man. So yeah, that was a pretty fun episode, man. I'll say so myself, man. So as always, if you are not already following me, that is at itymd.podcast. That's going to be on Instagram, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music Podcasts, and everywhere else that you can enjoy podcasts at. And if you have any stories that you want to share, that email, of course, as always, itymd.podcast@gmail.com, man. So thank you to everybody who has always tuned in with me thus far. If you want to be a passenger on the series, man, you know exactly where to get at me at. So peace and love. Happy birthday to the Foo Bear. And I thank everybody who has tuned in with me thus far. Peace.
Going too fast, 150 on a dash, bitch keep up, please don't crash, that's 5-0 on your ass, don't get stuck, my shit blast.